You only had, I think, 6 measly points on your dealership advantage. I think my list is a little bit deeper and better.
Okay, but we concede that there were 7 points for everybody keeping
I don't like it
score
when you
at
use
home.
that word.
Concede.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll see how I concede here today.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw a statistic out there that says that 72.8 of auto repair consumers prefer the independent service experience over a dealership service experience.
Says what? Good Housekeeping Magazine? What?
Advisor Fix Monthly.
Yeah.
There we go.
Says
Yes,
Vogue
absolutely.
Magazine? Cosmopolitan?
Look, we all know it's no secret that once a car is out of warranty, that most consumers don't go back to the dealership and then they gravitate out.
80%, but that really, you're changing the subject.
I'm not.
We're talking about specific advantages.
I just wanted to be fair in
I didn't come out and say like, oh, 100% of the cars sold are sold by dealership. Like,
You know what's funny though is I have a maintenance class that we teach service advisors how to sell maintenance. And in that class, I start with, the owner's manual, and then I go to different dealerships and, shop them on maintenance packages and stuff. And there's always some idiot in the back of the room that raises his hand and gives me a hard time. It's like, well, why do you compare us to the dealership? It's like not every car goes to the dealer.
so wait, these are independent employees.
Yeah.
And so point number 1 is they're idiots?
There's at least
No,
one
there's
idiot.
one
in
out
the
of
back
how many
of the
are
room.
idiots?
Yes, one.
Is that a
one.
special form you fill out? I'm the idiot for this class.
Keep going. We're trying to keep score, that's all.
He'll always ask me, why do you look at the dealership? Because, for maintenance. I'm like, well, where do you think the car started? Like, what experience do you think the customer left with? They bought the car at the dealership, they picked it up there, and they're used to that dealership service experience. So that's why I kind of look at that and tailor my
The
marketing.
dealership experience does become the benchmark, good or bad.
Right, of what the customer expects.
It's how they start.
Yes.
It's their point of reference.
Yes.
So if it's better than that, then their reference is that the independent, if the dealership did a great job and they try an independent, then they're going to go back to the dealership. But
Yes.
we established, I think it was point number 1 that you conceded, is dealerships have the home field advantage.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
And if you're used to having your car washed and vacuumed every time you have it serviced, and as an independent, I don't do that, there's an incongruency there with that service experience. But let me tell you the first...
Which point was that, though? That was perks, right?
Number 1 on my
The
list.
independents don't wash cars?
Number 1 on my list. I actually hand wash cars at my shop. And
When they're come back and
By yourself because you don't have a porter.
if they spend over $3,000.
we don't call the cars that come back comebacks. Those are second opportunities.
When's the last time you washed a car where you just replaced 4 tires?
Number 1 on our list.
Stymied.
If for the audience listening,
Yeah.
No,
silence
I'm
speaks.
exercising my time management skills and understand we have a
Oh, yeah,
finite amount of
we're on a
time
budget.
to shoot this episode. So
on a
here we
time
go.
budget.
All makes
So
and
point
models.
number 1.
All makes and models. We can service every car in your driveway. Look, they got nothing. Nothing at all. What do you have to say to that?
Do you really think technicians are effective working on a Ford one day, a Hyundai the next day, maybe with maintenance, like if you're doing an oil change, but a runnability issue, suspension?
A car's a machine. Wires are wires, connectors are connectors. We have the same factory level information that dealerships have. And actually, most really good independent repair shops spend more time in the classroom than dealership technicians or dealership service advisors. Our technicians at my shop spend 80 hours a week, 80 hours a year, not per week.
80 a week,
yeah.
just training.
In the bar, 80 hours a week in the bar after work. No, they spend 80 hours a year training. Next week, I'm bringing in a technical trainer for 5 days to my shop to do hands-on training with our technicians for 40 hours. So sometimes the independence training is further advanced. Now, I will also say this, being that we have to be everywhere and work on everything, I believe that our technicians are better technicians than dealership technicians because we don't fall into the rut of pattern failures. So we see cars that are older that have more real world problems where you might have to fix harness issues, you've got to fix tougher drivability issues, and you're dealing with a customer that may not have followed the maintenance plan. So it's a harder job, but I believe we're better at it.
Who would you say has more comebacks?
It depends on how you categorize comebacks.
If the car gets fixed and it leaves and
How
it
you
comes
categorize
back.
a comeback? What? How many different ways could you categorize a comeback?
Wait, are you friends with Trump or Bill Clinton? I'm confused.
I did
I did not have sexual relations
What-
with that woman.
That was
I
a
thought you were
Clinton
gonna
thing right
say
there, wasn't
I
it?
thought you were going to say camel, but no. That's not an industry. That's not independent versus dealerships. Dealerships have comebacks too. Do you know how many times I've heard from customers that the concern they brought the car in for wasn't even addressed, wasn't even listed on the repair order, and they had some huge bill and it didn't fix their problem?
So you don't want to answer the question.
I just answered the question. So our number one advantage is
Would
we
we
work
not
on
agree
all...
that independents have more comebacks than dealerships?
No, I will not agree with that statement.
Okay. You worked in both, so
I'll ask you this. How many shops in dealerships actually know their comeback percentage?
well, that's a good.
How many
point.
technicians know their comeback ratio? Not many.
Not unless you're tracking it.
Correct. And how many actually track it?
Not
as many as should.
Yeah,
For
so
sure.
number one on our list, we work on all makes and models.
Okay.
Okay. Number two is we provide a customized solution for the customer. So our parts department doesn't have a parts manager sitting there not doing anything, messing up the inventory. So our parts department is better. We can provide the customer options. Let's say you drive a BMW M5 and you want a different brake pad than what BMW provides on that. Is the dealership going to provide that to you?
You mean the Blem rotor from China that wasn't really made for a BMW, but kind of fits if you really hammered on there with a rubber
Yeah.
mallet?
The whole sorta lineup.
No, not that.
No.
We don't put inferior parts on it. Do you know that most aftermarket OEM suppliers actually provide parts that are at the minimum meet OEM specs or are engineered better than the OEM specs? It's proven. So we can provide different solutions that the dealership can't provide, which is parts. Now the option to repair the car, there's not just one estimate. There's many different ways that we can provide a solution. So let's say your car needs a transmission, okay? At the dealership, how many solutions are they going to give you?
I'll concede to this one because a lot of manufacturers don't want you to fix the transmission.
Right.
And so a customer needs a transmission, BMW, a customer needs a transmission, and BMW or whoever, a lot of the manufacturers do this, want you to replace the transmission. So you go back to the customer, you're like, hey, it's going to be $4,500 or $5,500 or whatever. And they're like, meanwhile, you take that transmission to AMCO, they put a new seal in it or whatever, and it's less than $1,000 and it's back on the road. And so you if you do that, you're kind of going against what the factory wants. And so it is, it does not give the customer as many options, correct?
Right. So
So you still do it though, but the independents do have an advantage where they have more options for the customers. But I don't know. In my experience, like some of those brakes that are cheaper, you do get what you pay for. So some of them,
I
know
agree.
you said that little tricky thing, like, oh, the parts are
Or
even
at
better
spec or
quality.
better or something
They're the
like
same
that.
or better, but you do know that there are parts out there that are worse, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
it can go.
Look, we
you get what you pay for.
fix $89 brake jobs at our shop.
Yeah,
we
okay.
fix those. We don't do $89
But
brake
just like
jobs.
dealerships, it go. You know, it depends on the person in the shop and their ethics and their image of themselves, right?
Yeah, so this customized solution provider, I'm your inside guy. I've got options for you. I think customers want choice today. They're savvy. They understand all this. And we provide that. So we're 2 for 2 on the independent side right now.
I think that the big thing that you get with that independent from the clients that I'm seeing is that they're technicians and the advisors and shop owners, they're resourceful and adaptable. Like the dealership side is definitely set in their way and they have the thing that they want to do, and it's more like do it their way instead of the independent shop is really saying let's do what's best for the customer. That is one thing I would definitely say it's really clear that with our independent clients that's what's going on. So I'm throwing a kudos to the independent world there.
You know one thing that is odd that when we're coaching or looking at financials from independent shops is that their parts gross profit percentage is higher than the dealerships most of the time.
Almost every time.
So they don't care if they're buying it from Nap, wherever, they're marking it up, and it's usually closer to 50%, and dealerships are closer to 40%. But
Yeah, and I mean the warranty goes behind that as well. I think a lot of times independents provide a better warranty on the service repairs than the dealerships do.
what?
Yeah, absolutely.
Explain that.
Okay, so what's BMW going to back up their brake pads for? What's the warranty
year.
on them?
12, yep.
Okay, so we do $336 on brakes, parts and
Really?
labor. Yeah, nationwide warranty.
They squeak.
I'll fix it. I guarantee my brakes don't squeak, rattle, or groan, and don't give you that annoying dust that you get from the dealership. We can have it done by 5. Does that work for you?
Yeah, I don't even need brakes. I just bought them from you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for watching this clip of Service Drive Revolution. Now you can catch the full episode on YouTube, iTunes, or Spotify, or wherever you consume your podcast. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when we post new episodes. I'm Chris Collins, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Chris Bulldog Collins. And I'll see you again on the next episode.